All right, everybody, here's Leo from Body Mind Success. Today, bringing you a very quick tutorial on understanding the basics of how to get Bitcoin, how to use it, how to get it back into currency, and so forth. Okay, because this is something that I've noticed that a lot of people have struggled with. So let's get started. So you're trying to get Bitcoin, or as a matter of fact, this works for pretty much any cryptocurrency that you have, of how to be able to acquire it. Okay, you have some sort of currency, dollars, yen, pesos, whatever, and you're trying to get it over to Bitcoin. So in order for you to do that, you've got to first go through an exchange that'll take your currency and switch over to Bitcoin. And once it does that, it's going to need to deliver it somewhere to a Bitcoin wallet. Okay, I'm going to go through each one of those. And in order to make this process simpler, I'm just explaining the concepts now, and below this video, you're going to find specific for each one of the steps that I talk about. Okay, so a wallet, what does it look like? One of the wallets that is pretty commonly known is blockchain. That is one of many, and it's basically something that you can have on your cell phone or sometimes on your computer, where you can actually send or receive Bitcoin or whatever other currency you might be able to hold. But you've got to be able to go to an exchange where you can actually exchange your currency into Bitcoin. Now, sometimes, and this is what makes things even more confusing, the exchange itself could have a wallet. For example, Coinbase has a wallet, and it's also an exchange. Okay. Same thing with Uphold. Local Bitcoins is more of a place where you purchase Bitcoins. It's not really a wallet, but it actually uses it. So these are just some examples. There are lots of them, and if you want specifics of which ones have earned my trust or have earned my business, I'll be happy to share with you below this video which ones those are. So how do we use it? Now we got Bitcoin. How do I get it to somebody? What do I need to do? Well, in order for you to do that, you are going to have to send from one Bitcoin wallet to another. But what do you send? You're going to have an address, something similar to what you see here on the screen. There's going to be a big old long convoluted string of characters that is going to be an wallet address. Now, if you understand QR codes, there'll be QR codes here, but I also didn't want to confuse things. So I wanted to make sure that I kept it fairly simple. Now, when you send when you send Bitcoin to that specific address, what needs to happen is it needs to go through a network of computers this is an encrypted message where they have to mathematically solve some puzzle in order to be able to have the right to actually be able to verify that transaction. That process is called mining. Not that it's important right now, but it's just basically it's called mining. When that mining happens, it says, okay, this transaction is valid, it's good, you can actually go ahead and deliver that Bitcoin to another wallet, whether it's an individual or a business. It doesn't really matter. As long as there's a Bitcoin address to be received and there's a Bitcoin address to be sent and everything is verified, you're good to go. Okay? And in essence, that's the gist of it. But people ask, well, okay, so now I got Bitcoin. How do I get from Bitcoin back to my currency? Because in essence, part of the value in Bitcoin is being able to take that Bitcoin and utilizing it for things that you want to buy. People have bought houses, cars, groceries, paid bills, and so forth. But how do they do that? So in order for you to do that, you got to basically have some way of exchanging from Bitcoin to dollars or to yen or to pesos or whatever it is your currency. Okay, well, how do you do that? How do you get from Bitcoin to some currency? Well, there's a couple of ways to do it. Number one, and you can go back to the exchanges, for example, in Coinbase or Uphold or whatever, and be able to take your Bitcoin and say, I want to sell it off. In essence, you're saying, I want to sell it off to somebody that's going to give me my currency for that. Okay? Now, then that concept holds the same whether you're using it directly through one of the exchanges and sending it to your bank, which would turn it into a currency, or some people have gone the route of debit cards, where you take your debit card and you deliver Bitcoin into your debit card, and then as soon as you take that Bitcoin and convert it into currency, you are now have a prepaid Visa, MasterCard, whatever kind of card they have, to be able to process that payment. Okay, once you've done that, then you can actually implement that into purchasing whatever method accepts Visa, MasterCard, whatever it is, the debit card that you have. Or if you have it in your bank account, you then have it as actual currency. Okay. So what do you got to do? And the steps are fairly straightforward, but I want to make sure I get them crystal clear. Number one, you got to get a wallet. Now, which wallet is going to be right for you depends on the currency, depends on what you're wanting, whether you're going Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency, and you got to learn how to use that. I'm going to give you a list below this video of ones that I believe are most useful, that I've actually have had a good reputation. I've either reviewed them myself, or I've used them, or have had the opportunity to be able to work with others who have used it very effectively. Okay. You got to buy Bitcoin at a trusted exchange. Now, there are exchanges, and there's some of them that are not quite as reputable. Okay. But in the industry of growing Bitcoin, more the ones that have been more reputable have serviced to the top. And those are the ones that you're probably going to be using. Now, again, I have a complete list of the ones that I've played around with, or people have, personally have had an opportunity to see them utilizing it and making it useful for them. And now it's different for different countries. I've worked with people all over the world, whether you got UK or Mexico or whatever. It doesn't matter. There's different exchanges that tend to work better in other countries. And then after that, you start using the Bitcoin. Pretty much, you take your Bitcoin, send it to whomever you're going to send it to, and it's got to go to their wallet. And after that, if you're wanting to get your Bitcoin out, then you've got to basically sell it off some way, shape, or form. Whether it's from your Bitcoin wallet to one of the exchanges and then changing it to your bank, or getting it through some sort of prepaid card that allows you to take the Bitcoin currency and actually turn it into your currency. So I certainly hope that you found this video useful, that hopefully it makes this whole process a lot clearer, and that you start enjoying this world of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. If you like this video, please go ahead and share, comment, or subscribe to my channel, and you will continue to receive videos such as this. Thank you very much for watching. Have an amazing day.